Welcome to Hip Hop Culture, where DJing, MCing, graffiti art are expressed every day within the inner cities of America and the world. You are not doing hip hop, you are hip hop.
Episode number 4. Conscious and Balance. The year's 1991, the world had so many significant changes. Pop culture was a monster devouring the masses. Trip this. 20 paintings were stolen from the Amsterdam Van Gogh Museum and were then recovered 35 minutes later because the robbers got a flat tire. Dumbasses.
Went to a nearby video store.
I had the door open, she came in, stopped at the counter, and she pulled out a gun.
Clerk Heather Daly recognized her immediately, but handed over the money, then called police.
And they caught her coming back for her glasses that she dropped when she jumped over the wall.
It was all over the newspapers.
Different Strokes star Dana Plato was arrested for robbing a video store in 1991. The store clerk recognized her and told the 911 operator, "I've just been robbed by the girl who played Kimberly on Different Strokes." Child actor turned gangsta bitch. Tragic. Creepy shit. The main villains of Psycho, 1960, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, and The Silence of the Lambs, 1991, were all loosely based on the same person, Wisconsin serial killer Ed Gein. Silence of the Lambs won the Big Five Oscars. Then, on June 22, 1991, Billboard announced a new album had surpassed Out of Time, by Rem, to become the most popular in the country. It was Niggas for Life, by NWA, which had debuted the previous week at number 2 and sold nearly 1 million copies in its first 7 days. That's right, 1991 marked the most significant revolution in the history of modern pop music. The rise of rap and hip-hop was the most important event that has shaped the musical structure of the American charts. In this episode, we'll be focusing on what we consider to be essential but sometimes overlooked hip-hop releases. It would be too easy to compile a list of albums that attained classic material status and are now considered to be standards of the genre. The Low End Theory, De La Soul is Dead, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, Cypress Hill, Breaking Atoms, One for All, etc. are all some of the best hip-hop records ever created, but they'll make everyone else's best of 91 lists. Let's dig a little deeper and shine a light on some release that doesn't get brought up in these conversations quite as often. Boogie Down Productions, Live Hardcore Worldwide. Del the Funky Homo Sapien, I Wish My Brother George Was Here. Digital Underground, Sons of the P. DJ Quick, Quick is the name. Freestyle Fellowship, To Whom It May Concern. Organized Confusion, KMD, Mr. Hood. 2 years after making his debut appearance on the hit single The Gas Face by Third Base, Zev Love X.
Zev Love X. A gas face can either be a smile or a smirk when a pair's a monkey race to work once clockwork.
Along with his brother, the late Sub Rock, and Onyx, the Birthstone Kid, not the group famous for Slam, released their debut album. Lead single Peach Fuzz, which dropped in 1990, was a minor hit. Onyx left the group during the recording sessions, Sub Rock was killed in a traffic accident, and the group was dropped from their record deal by Elektra, due to the album's cover art being deemed too controversial after an indictment in Billboard. It seemed that KMD would become a rarely mentioned footnote. But then Zev Love X reinvented himself as MF Doom, and the rest is, as they say, history. There is no all-encompassing political hip-hop ideology, rather, there are multiple perspectives that range anywhere from Marxism to the values of the 5% nation. Hip-hop music has been politically charged ever since its inception. Spoken word groups such as the Last Poets and the Watts Prophets inspired groups such as Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Sometime in the late 80s, conscious hip-hop was replaced by the edgier and more profane, gangster rap, which dominated not only hip-hop as a genre, but popular culture for the next 20-plus years. The urgent calls for unity, community pride and political awareness were replaced with regional pride, tales of drugs and gang life, and misogyny. Given the current political, racial and social divisions that are a current reality, there is an ongoing effort in recent years to resurrect conscious hip-hop. Things that make you go, That was also 1991 by the way, but I digress. Life of a Kid in the Ghetto, the debut studio album by the Boston-based rap group Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs. It was released on March 5, 1991. The album peaked at number 166 on the Billboard 200 and number 21 on the top R&B/hip-hop albums. Yo. Hold up. To Ed O.G., and nibble dogs. Right on. Rock that Boston, get down. However, back in Boston, MCs and hip-hop crews were still struggling for a piece of that light. Light, please. Now called the LMO, they were a part of that struggle. Having gone through a few personal changes, they still searched for their identity and their place in hip-hop. In these early days, Trank did a lot of the writing and Nyambezi was producing most of the beats they rocked to. In Walt's studio on Massachusetts Avenue, there was a fair amount of experimenting with style, tempo, rhyme flow, a bit of comedy and silly voices. Throughout Dorchester, Roxbury and Mattapan, the LMO was well known. They were getting regular airplay and would pop up and rock underground parties. This recognition secured them a slot on a major hip-hop event in Boston. A white kid named John Regan and a black kid called Blue, who later went on to help establish the Lyricist Lounge. These two cats put together a legendary gig at a place called the Cyclorama, with performances by some of the golden era's most groundbreaking phenomenal acts. Organized Confusion, OC and A Tribe Called Quest. The LMO was the opening act. Just as a point of observation here, Boston crowds can be particularly brutal, especially on their own hometown talents. The LMO, being very familiar with this truth, they knew they had to step up. The lights went up, the beat came booming, and the LMO exploded on the stage with a song called Casual Chaos. Recorded in 1991, for the first time this Mortal Clockwork track has been released and is available for digital download on Hi-Fi Underground Shop.
Nyambezi is the Blade Runner, and that's apparent. Yeah, I'm 5'5", but my walk is real arrogant. A little too confident for one who expects, or is used to a short brother with a small man's complex. The American flag eraser, the racer, and the safest way to take me is straight with no chaser. Hey DJ, let's play that song. And keep dancing, make sure you buy a ticket in advance. And I step out of my house, I'm getting doused by affection.